So that's what I want to do to follow the effectiveness. By the way, there was a very recent study called Accomplish that showed that the combination of an ACE inhibitor, which has more side effects. Here's another penny-wise, pound-foolish discussion. Doctors ought to be allowed to prescribe angiotensin receptor blockers over the ACE inhibitors like lisinopril or monopril or Acion or Ramipril because there are fewer side effects. And in fact, the side effect of the angiotensin receptor blockers like Benicar, also Diovan, also Avapro, is so low that it's comparable to what we call placebo, which means no real side effects. The same is true of the Bistolic. It has so few side effects that you don't have to discontinue, which then cancels office visits to the doctor and so on, and telephone calls. So that's another reason why I like to have the non-generics prescribed. And I frankly don't know what I'll do because it's sort of like my integrity is being compromised by the rules of the penny-wise, pound-foolish administrators of these HMO plans and so on. Next, what would I do if I had breast or prostate cancer on a sort of daily basis? I've had one patient who is utterly unbelievable in her knowledge and her decision of how to treat herself. She believes that she's done many, many things. I've mentioned her before on these programs, but two of the things that I have brought to her are Avamar and Graviola. And there's this medical letter that I get called HSI, and here it is. And HSI, let's see what month this is, volume 13, number 3, I just received it, so it's either August or September this year. They have the most unbelievable writing. They are so convincing. But they do offer some reviews where they say that Avamar was more effective at killing cells in the test tube, not in patients, than was Femara, Aromacin. And while that's not enough for me to recommend it to replace those, it's certainly enough for me to recommend it in addition to those. Now, this has to be guided. I'm not suggesting that you run out and buy AVEMAR, Avamar, or Graviola, Graviola, but I am suggesting that you start to do your own research and begin to have these considerations. If you have questions, call me. I can't tell you a great deal more than that. I've had a great deal of experience with these medications, and I've not done the controlled studies that are generally required to say something is or isn't effective. But after 30-plus years in practice, I've begun to develop, not begun, it was my blessing from the beginning, to have really excellent intuitions about which medicines worked best and why. So as a result, do your own research. Go to Google, plug those names in, AVEMAR. That's one word. The other one is Graviola. And I hope that you enjoy that. Now, gee, as usual, I did not get through any of the things that I wanted to talk about. Oh, I'm going to be on Fox Channel Fox Channel 61 for a 1-hour show. You can call down there and see when that's going to be. It's going to be a morning show. I have to be there from 7 in the morning till 9. I presume that means that the show is 8 o'clock, although it might be 7 o'clock. So I encourage you to watch for me on that morning show. Dina Stavola is the producer of that, so give her a call. I think the date is September 3rd, but I'm not really sure of that. That'll be me on Fox 61, and I will be talking about different kinds of ideas, such as the above. I have here a picture of, I don't think you can see that, but basically it sort of shows where sugar comes in and all the different things it does. And let me show you that. Postprandial hyperglycemia. What that means is blood sugar after a meal. Let's talk about when to measure blood sugars. I have patients check their, first of all, if you have type 2 diabetes, non-insulin dependent diabetes, you can only, insurance companies generally only let you check your sugar once a day. If you have insulin dependent diabetes, then you're allowed to check it twice a day. If you're going to check it once a day, the ideal time to check it is 90 minutes after a meal, because you want to see what kind of control you're in after you eat. So 90 minutes after breakfast, 90 minutes after lunch, and 90 minutes after dinner. I'm sort of less interested in what it is at bedtime, unless you think you're having hypoglycemic shock during the night. And I'm less interested in the morning after a routine adjustment. In other words, once you've gotten stabilized, yes, I am interested in what it is first thing in the morning, and yes, I am interested in what it is late at night before you go to bed. But once you're fairly stabilized, to see what your ideal control is, I want your blood sugar to be 90 at 90 minutes, 90 at 90 minutes after a meal, any meal, every meal. So over the course of 3 days, you could check after breakfast 90 minutes, after lunch 90 minutes, and after dinner 90 minutes. And you want that number to be not too low, but I've given you the value. 90 is safe. And that is what has to do with the development of diabetic kidney disease, which leads to dialysis. That has to do with heart dysfunction, hardening of the arteries, dysfunction of the nerves, neuropathy, dysfunction of the eyes, and these have to do with activation of pathways called advanced glycosylation end products, AGE products, activation of the hexosamine pathway, the polyol pathway, kinase C, and nuclear factor kappa beta. Now, I know you don't know what that technical language is, but you might start to hear it, you might start to think about it, and the point all being that these things can be activated by the oxidative effects of high blood sugars that then destroy those various kinds of tissues that I mentioned earlier. Well, we have just a little bit of time. I will say again, I am H. Robert Silverstein, MD, for the Preventive Medicine Center and West Hartford Cable Access TV. If you have any questions about this program, please call me at 549-3444. And don't forget, probably the single most important health risk factor that is going on today is elevated percent body fat beyond clear lines of definition. And that's what you want to get down to. Now, how do you know when you're there? When you can see where the muscles meet the muscles on the abdomen. And if you can't see it, that implies a little bit too much percent body fat here as well as generally. The lower that percent body fat is, it's not a number, it's a vision, it's an image. Good day, God bless you all. See you next time.
Was a woman in Georgia, didn't feel just right. She had fever all day and chills at night.